Welcome to Bleav in 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav in 76ers is presented by betonline.ag.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year. It's football season, and you know what that means? It means it's time to get in on BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our 150 slot games. Head to the website today and get in on the action. BetOnline, the game starts here. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav in 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here, legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow, and my brother Teja Dash. Guys, we lots to get into with this episode. Obviously, Paul George made his debut finally, and the controversial article that we talked about last week became even more controversial over the weekend on Saturday night. So we'll begin with kind of that news. So we talked about this Philadelphia Inquirer article last week by the writer Marcus Hayes, which said the team should give fans their money back for resting their starters. We did not mention the part of the article last week because we wanted to kind of stick to basketball, and I also didn't want to give any more airtime to the Marcus Hayes article. But the part that has become more controversial was a part in the article where he brought up Embiid's family. Quote, Joel Embiid consistently points to the birth of his son, Arthur, as a major inflection point in his basketball career. He often says that he wants to be great, to leave a legacy for the boy named after his little brother who tragically died in an automobile accident when Embiid was in his first year as a 76er. Well, in order to be great at your job, you first have to show up for work. Embiid has been great at just the opposite. Now in his 11th season, he consistently has been in poor condition. This poor conditioning apparently seems to have delayed his debut this season. So, just kind of an unnecessary shot there. You could have easily written that article without even mentioning that part, just out of nowhere. But so since then, Embiid saw Marcus Hayes after the Saturday night loss in Memphis and confronted him in the locker room. Things got a bit physical. Embiid pushed him and was quoted apparently said, the next time you bring up my dead brother and my son again, you're going to see what I'm going to do to you, and I'm going to have to live with the consequences. Since then, former 76ers point guard Lou Williams defended Embiid by saying, I played in Philly for the first 7 years of my career. It gave me thick skin. When a reporter writes an article like that and you bring family into it, especially deceased family, you cross the line. So obviously a lot to unpack here, and we are lucky that we have our co-host, Eric, who played in Philadelphia for so long, dealt with Philadelphia media for a long time, also worked in NBA media. So, Eric, what is your take on all of this?
Well, first off, Philadelphia is different than a lot of other cities. Really that northeastern Philly, Boston, New York are all different. And we all know that. The media is different in what they say. Reporters have a job to do. They're not really there to be your friend, even though sometimes they try to act like they are. So I think it's fair game for him to say whatever he needs to say about Joel not being available or about his injuries or whatever. I think that's all fair game. Family's not fair game. He could have accomplished what he wanted to accomplish in that article without ever mentioning anyone else in Joel's family. So I think that was out of line. But Joel's out of line for I don't necessarily say he's out of line for confronting him. I think he's maybe out of line for pushing him. Yes, not maybe. He is out of line for that. But I do not feel like he's out of line for confronting the issue and let it be known. Like, there's no need for you to mention my family. So that is probably something that I feel that he should have said, like, go ahead and say that. I agree with that. Um, it's sometimes it's a buildup of things. You have specific people in the media in Philly and prospectively, and in certain perspective, where they ride a certain person. They kind of get on this thing where, and I had a guy that was always saying stuff about me that was on radio, from what I was told. Allen had a guy, and there was always somebody was writing Coach Brown. So it was always somebody that kind of, this is their person that they're kind of on. I don't know if this is a situation with them where he said stuff previously and it kind of built up. I don't know. Um, all I know is it could have been prevented on both sides. So I think now we have a situation where I don't know if the newspaper has come out and said anything in support or correction to the article. I don't know. Um, Joel, in my opinion, probably will get suspended. I don't know how big or small. I Bleav he will get some form of a suspension. Um, so whenever he's going to come back, we probably should look at it as an additional, after he says he's going to come back. Or I don't know if they let him come back and then suspend him. I don't know how they do that.
Suspend him on back-to-back.
Yeah, just do it. Have him come back one day and then have him suspended the next day, or have him come back on the back-to-back. Say you're going to play one game, play the next one. You wouldn't have played anyway. So
that's right.
That's probably a good idea. But it's unfortunate. I mean, that's what we're talking about. So we have the issue of Joel being out, still haven't come back, and not really having the answer of how he's really doing. That's the real crutch of this whole thing. Like, we have this whole thing that's going on, but we still don't have that answer of when he's coming back. So that kind of tells you that the article could have been written solely about that. It's so many unknowns about this situation. It was no need to take it there, personally. And no need for Joel to be aggressive from that standpoint where he feels like he needs to shove someone. Because he could have got his point across, I Bleav, without that. Either privately or, in front of people like he did. I mean, I think he still could have said what he had to say and move on from there. Then, if the writer continues to do that, then the team or the NBA or someone needs to step in, if that's the case. If he continued to handle his job in that manner. But I don't think that'll happen now. But it's an unfortunate situation because, like I said, I Bleav a suspension's coming and it could have been prevented. But more than anything, Joel still isn't coming back, and we don't know when he's coming back.
Yeah. It's crazy because do you think, Eric, if that kind of article was written like when you played 20 years ago, that there would be this much buildup? I feel like the social media world like drums up all this like instigation and energy around all of it.
I think and I think I've said this before, Philly is different because nowadays people talk about how the social media, and we didn't have it then, but back then the print, paper, and talk radio, that was pretty much social media. That was people having their opinion on a lot of things and giving their opinion on a lot of things, and people saying things and people taking it for what they say and forming opinions. And you hear it so much, and then all of a sudden you start thinking that way about a guy. So Philly was different because that was the talk radio was so big. The media was so big.
It was so locally contained, though, right? Now you have everyone in the world.
You say it was locally contained, but it was locally contained from the standpoint of that's where it originated, was locally. But But you best believe every time that conversation started, then we had a game, then it became national. Because all they did was take whatever was going on locally and build it national. And we were on national TV all the time. So whatever was talked about locally was talked about during our game, or
It just
talked
took
about during the
longer.
pregame show or halftime show or postgame show. And it all came down to how you perform. If we lost the game, then all of a sudden it became about everything else or a lot of other stuff outside of the game. So, and then we had, polarizing guys with AI and Coach Brown. So
Yeah.
it was always national for us. That's what I mean. Stephen A, love where he's come from. And I know how hard he's worked to get to where he is. But some of the attention that he got was from some of the things that was going on from our team.
Yeah.
That was some of his early attention. When he was one of those guys that jumped out in front, and all of a sudden people, seen his talent, and then he was able to grow on from that. But a lot of stuff that was going on with the Sixers came from, guys were built a career off of that.
Yeah.
So I do feel that social media makes things worse because it's so many people having not necessarily an opinion, but it's an instant opinion.
Yeah.
That's where it's really different. It's instant.
Yeah. It sparks and lights like that.
Like right away, which means that people are put in a situation or a position where they almost have to take a side, or things have to be decided like immediately.
Yeah.
So that's where it's different. Whereas and before, like something could happen, and we may not. It may not even get to us, or may not be a thing until the next day at practice. Oh, this is what happened, and this is what's going on.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, and we got to figure out, okay, Eric and Aaron, you the only two that are going to talk to the media today, and this is what's going on. These are the questions that you're going to be asked, and stay away from this, stay away from that, and we'll be there to make sure that you know what I'm saying. Like you could kind of you could put people out there, but you're putting guys out there that's not going to make it worse or kind of know how to handle things. And
it was
you could
easier
do
to
that.
cover up and plan.
So now people are contacting these guys directly, or contacting the team directly and saying whatever they need to say. So yeah, I agree with that. I just don't know why a lot of these guys give so much access to their life.
Yeah.
I don't know how they can. Maybe other people run their social media, so they don't necessarily hear or see all this stuff. But I would say that. I know my son's always asking me how I would have been from that perspective, and everything in me say I don't know how you can not be private. I just don't know how you can not be private. My accounts are now all private now, and I can't get checks and all that stuff because I'm private, which I just learned. Like you can't get on Instagram, all that stuff. You can't get checks by your name unless you're public. I didn't know that. I learned that the hard way. I said, well, I'm gonna just have to go checklist because I'm not doing that.
Good. As far as just a quick opinion on Embiid, when you read that Marcus Hayes paragraphs, it's just that addition of his family was just, the word is unnecessary, because the next one was about leaving the legacy and being available to do so. He literally just could have left all that stuff out and been like, Joel Embiid wants to leave a legacy to everybody. He could have been, a little more vague about it. Wants to leave a legacy. Well, in order to do that, you need to play. He could have just said that, and he would have got the same point across. That extra personal aspect of it was almost like it almost seemed like trying to get his attention on it, or see what he could get out of that. And you got it, dude. And he didn't stand by it. I heard he tried apologizing to him numerous times in the locker room, and Embiid said, "F that apology. I don't want his apology."
It's my thing is I understand that he probably tried to apologize, but these articles, especially an article like that, is not really done immediately after a game like that, are proved by other people.
Oh yeah, he's been working on that article too for a while.
And this wasn't a one-day article.
No.
So in his profession, and for him to have that in there, and for him to reread that multiple times and not take it out, he wanted it in there.
100%.
Now
He's
the
probably still
question
happy.
is, and only he will. Now the question is, and only he will know this, is why do you feel like it needed to be in there?
Attention, probably.
So,
I mean, nowadays negative attention is positive
because now everybody reads it. And almost unanimously, people are like, "Why is that in there?"
Yeah,
like even professional writers that I know personally, Steven and David Aldridge, like guys that I knew personally, are saying, "Yeah, you could have wrote that article without that."
Yeah,
and got the same point across.
Yeah.
So how can you read that and not feel that way?
Yeah, you're right, though.
That's a question he has to answer.
Yeah, you're right, and the entire newspaper really has to answer because you're right. It's not just him. Like someone proved it. You're right. And secondly, I believe everything Joel says about the consequences part because Joel has proved over his career he can be very emotional. He speaks just straight from it. So he said that he absolutely meant it, and yeah, Marcus Hayes should not say anything else after that to write anything else ever again because Embiid is not playing. Going forward, maybe this also pushes Embiid to come out on fire with just like a vendetta against everybody, trying to just shut everybody up because he's obviously angry about all this. And when you said it's kind of a buildup, I thought initially I was like, yeah, a build up toward this guy because who knows what else this guy has said and written about Joel and the Sixers previously. I don't really follow Marcus Hayes that much, although no one seems to like him in Philadelphia. That was the one consensus I got. But also, I think it's a little of a buildup of everything for Joel too. I think he's frustrated in general right now. I think he's got a lot of questions about his on the court, questions about Olympics, question about this, question about that. I think he's just overall just frustrated, and this was terrible timing and just an idiot. The guy was an idiot for saying what he said because he's already mad and frustrated about all this, and he wants to be out there. I think, right? So it just
I understand that totally. And you're saying that he already has to deal with people questioning why he's not playing. That's enough because that's across the board. I believe he's not the only person saying that. Like that's across the board.
Yeah.
So that's what that's where I'm like, it's unnecessary to put that in there because you already have a topic of conversation to say enough about him. And that's pretty much going to be negative. You already made it a negative article. There was no need to do anything above talking about him not being available or whatever you want to say. It was the article I can't say it can write itself, but it was enough information for you to do that. So I don't remember. I don't know in my time that people kind of talked about people's personal life like that. I know we had, and I believe Marcus Hayes might have come towards the end of my Philly time. I want to say he was there maybe the end of it. But most of the main two writers when I was there was Steven and Phil Jasner. Late Phil Jasner.
Yeah.
So they were the main two, and there were some other guys that, if I see them, I would know them. I kind of knew.
2010.
Yeah, so he came after me. So
yeah.
So I don't know him. I don't know him at all. So you kind of John Small?
Well, he was since in 1996. He joined the Philadelphia Daily News, where he was the Eagles beat writer, then the Phillies beat writer, and then he began his current position as just overall sports columnist in 2010.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. I thought he was. That's what I'm saying. I thought I seen him around.
He
Like,
was
had been,
around
like,
when you were there.
The name. That's what I thought. I thought he was around because it was. I thought he was around, but he wasn't specifically a beat writer. I think he was just like a person that wrote articles, but he wasn't a beat writer.
He was specifically
Smallwood, I
Eagles
believe,
at the
was.
time.
Yes, John Smallwood, I believe, was around.
Yeah, I remember Smallwood.
I forgot another guy, and he had glasses with little afro curly hair. But I can't remember all their names. But you kind of got to know people. So when people and guys wrote articles about us, like, it wasn't, always good. But I guess more than anything is when people write stuff and they write stuff that you feel is negative, most guys will respect it if you respectively hear their perspective and they can respectively tell you theirs to your face. That's the one thing I'll say about Stephen A. And I don't really want to like compare him and Phil and all that stuff. I'd say the one thing I always liked about Stephen A. was that he would say whatever he said in print, he would say to you. And he would allow you to disagree or say whatever you had to say, and you kind of move on. But more than anything, he was present. Like, he was present. He was at all the games. He came to practices. So you've seen him. It wasn't a lot of the times that people would say stuff on talk radio that I never even knew some of these people. Like, I never met them before.
Yeah.
That was the difference with Howard. Like, a lot of people don't like Howard, but Howard was always around. He came to practices. He came to games. He was in the locker room. So you at least knew who he was.
Yeah.
Like, he said stuff that, that I know a lot of people didn't like. I know, he had his issues with AI and Coach Brown. And I didn't have an issue with Howard because I guess he was spending more time talking about them than me. But excuse me, but it was but he was around though. He had a conversation. I can see him now today and we can have a conversation. I see him because I know him because he was present.
Mm-hmm.
So when a lot of times when guys feel like the people are present and you're around them, you know their names and sometimes, and I don't know Joel's relationship with Marcus Hayes. Like, I don't know. But if they had the relationship and he was around like that, then you would be in a situation where you can address someone getting out of it. Did you feel like they're just saying something that's out of line? You would be able to address it and move on. So I don't know if there's a relationship per se there that could have prevented this. But it's been a lot of stuff that people say. I know, like I said, AI had so much stuff that people said about him and his personal life that I don't think they had enough ink to talk about us and our personal lives. But most of the things that were said about anybody on our team, more personal life, was more talk radio and less print as far as personal lives. I mean, talk radio, personal lives was totally in play. Like, if a guy was hanging out the night before and he had a bad game, trust me, they were talking about it. It was a big deal. So,
yes,
it's just different, man.
Since this whole thing, like an old clip of Marcus Hayes from like some Comcast Sports Network roundtable he did. They were talking about I saw that. They were talking about a road trip. The Flyers went on this. I don't know what year it was, probably like 2008. I don't know. But Flyers players brought their dads on their road trip, which is a tradition for all teams in the NHL. Marcus Hayes responded with, quote, "It's a good thing they don't have that in the NBA." So that's been kind of making the rounds. Everyone's saying, "Oh, this guy's a piece of crap. He's always been a piece of crap," kind of thing. Taking jabs at.
So what I mean, what is is a good thing on the happening in the NBA. Like, what did he mean by that?
I think
it's a lot of ways you can go with that.
You could go a lot of ways. They're all bad, though, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a lot of ways you can go with that.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Did he make it specific what he was talking about? Because
no, he kept it there.
He kept it there and kind of had it smirk afterwards.
Yeah, you can take that a lot of different directions.
Yeah.
But everyone, I think, just interpret that as just being bad and a part of his character and who the kind of stuff he.
I mean, I don't. Yeah, I mean, and if you're saying it in that tone, the way you said it, and he's saying it with a smirk, I don't think he meant it in a nice way.
Yeah, no,
because there was no need to bring up the NBA. So it
was a shot. No, he was taking a shot.
Nice it was a shot at NBA. So what is it? It is. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what is I guess I don't need to spend much time on. What is your shot? Your shot at the NBA, or is it at NBA dads, or is it at black dads? Like, what is it? What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's one of those.
Is Marcus Hayes is he a black guy? White guy? Like what?
He looks. I don't know. It might be mixed. I don't know.
Maybe I gotta look him up because who I'm thinking about. I need to make sure that's who I'm talking. Who I'm thinking of. I want to make sure that's him.
Oh, let me share the screen. I have it right here.
I'm trying to see if he is.
Can you guys see that? Let me zoom in. This is the clip that.
Are you confused by this? You're a little confused?
That's him?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, he was around. Yeah, he was around when I was there. Yeah, he was around when I was there. Yeah, he was in. I remember him now.
Okay.
Yeah, he was around then. I do believe he covered. The Eagles was more. I think he maybe covered the Eagles more, but then came to us kind of during the Eagles off season.
Okay,
that makes sense.
I do. I do know who he is. Yeah, I know him. I mean, he was around when, like I said, he was. I don't know if he was ever a true beat writer for us, because, like I said, we always had maybe. I think when Steven left, I don't know who they got for him. I think she was a female. They got when he left. It was a couple people, but yeah, I see that now.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I know who he is. I can't say I've had many instances with him that are negative. I've had conversations with him. I'm sure. I've did interviews with him. I don't believe I've ever did a one-on-one with him. But I know that he came. I've seen him before, so I know who he is. He was around.
Right.
I just don't remember him as specifically being a beat writer. Like, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
For us.
But on the topic of Embiid, so there may be a suspension, like Eric mentioned. There may be that the NBA is apparently investigating it. You guys mentioned that if the Inquirer has come out and apologized for it, they have not. They wrote an article saying, and the title is Joel Embiid strikes, shoves Inquirer columnist Marcus Hayes during a locker room altercation. The NBA is conducting an investigation into the incident, and the Sixers plan to cooperate with the league's findings. That was the only other follow-up to the whole.
Yeah. So they expecting something to happen. They're pushed. That's their thing. Is we expect the league and the team to do something about this. That's their side they're taking.
Yep. You write an article about a guy not playing games, and now because of that article, he might not be playing more games. So kind of ironic.
Yeah.
But on Embiid, there's some good news. So obviously, I don't know when the suspension is going to happen, if it's going to happen. But from Sam Amick today, there's hope within the Sixers organization that Joel Embiid could return as soon as tomorrow's game against the LA Clippers. Quote, the hope, as team sources shared Monday, is that Embiid could play as soon as Wednesday's game against the Clippers. He recently began practicing in 5-on-5 action, worked out extensively before the game against the Suns, and is expected to take part in individual workouts Tuesday in Los Angeles that will set the stage for what comes next. Barring a setback, it seems likely there is an end in sight very soon. So Embiid could be on his way back. So that's good news. Good news. All right, so let's talk about our other debut, the long-awaited, highly anticipated Paul George debut last night. First game back, a little rusty, but PG made his debut, but the Sixers fell short, losing by 2 in Phoenix. What do we make of PG's return? Any moral victories here, guys? Anything little things we can pull from to keep the fan base happy about some more PG?
I mean, I think that the only thing that can really keep you happy is the fact that he played. I mean, that's
Yeah.
and hopefully we can build off of that. Just having him play, having him out there. I don't know if you can kind of gain anything else outside of that. The play. I mean, he was productive. He played 31 minutes. I had to hold myself back from being negative that if he's playing Monday, why couldn't he have played Saturday? So I had to hold myself back from being negative and just kind of move on, because we lost that game, and at that time when I was feeling that way, we looked like we were going to win Monday.
I know.
So, like I said, it's you see the talent, you see what he's capable of doing. You see the matchup problems that he can cause other teams. You see the size that he has that can give you a little more flexibility as far as your rotations. So all of that is there. Now it's to the point where we almost got to get to the point where we are confident that he can stay in the lineup and we can maintain some kind of continuity and build from there. So that's kind of what, to me, what's next is just, I know his talent is talent. So we just got to feel good about the consistency of being in the lineup. That's where I think the next step is kind of building that.
Yeah. We knew chemistry was going to be an issue. Like, it's a brand new team. We're adding someone else who's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. Chemistry is going to be a thing. So they need to work on that. Hopefully we can get Embiid back in there soon so we don't have to rework on chemistry when he comes back again. So that's number one. Number 2, 6 turnovers, a little rough, but he's rusty. I come to expect that. 3-point shot was a little off. I need to look at more Clippers and Suns matchups recently to see who does he usually not guard Durant. It seemed to make more sense to have him on Durant than Martin, but that's just me.
No, I would have thought Martin would have been on him. I don't remember. I thought Kawhi would guard Durant a little more when he played.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, I'm not sure if that would have been the case for me. I'm saying now with his first game back, I would have definitely put Martin on him.
That's true. It's his first game back. Yeah. So what happens now might not happen in 3 months from now.
Yeah. I mean, even then, I mean, like if we can't have Caleb Martin and Kevin Durant and we got Paul George guarding, like I see Caleb Martin has to be that guy. Like, why else would he be in the starting lineup if he can't go guard the best wing forward?
Yeah. I'm saying when Durant's doing him up for 14 of 20 for 35 points, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Paul.
We have someone else check him for a couple times.
That's because that's Kevin Durant. Ain't no one guy gonna stop you. Better do something different defensively. You better double or do something. You can't be like one guy. Hey, go stop. Arguably the best scorer in this generation. Like, you better do something else.
Yeah.
The one thing that Kevin Durant has shown is his great ability to score the ball one-on-one. But there's also something Kevin Durant has shown. His ability to turn the ball over when he's playing in crowds.
Yep.
So lean towards making him play in the crowd more than just letting him play one-on-one.
Yeah. And that was his best game of the season, too, against us. The other negative I have to mention is that he didn't know how much we were down by on that last possession. That we were down by 1. That's what he said.
No, so you saying that, right? He said we thought we was down by 1, right?
That's what it sounded like he was saying.
Okay, so the only confusion to me is if you saying we were down, you got to go immediately. We're losing. There's no need to wait at all.
Yeah.
But no one's telling him go, like go score, go. We're losing. We could have had a couple possessions, 2 or maybe 3 possessions out of that amount of time that we just held the ball. And we got 1 shot, and it was what, double figure, like I don't know how many seconds left, but we got 1 shot.
And it was a long
because Maxi's shot didn't count.
No, he didn't get it up in time.
So we only got 1 shot during that whole time, and we were losing. Like that's just bad management. Managing the game and managing the clock in the end. There's no other way to shake it. You can't say we thought you down. Even say you thought we were down by 1 instead of 2. Either way it go, the game wasn't tied. The only way you hold the ball and get the last shot or close, as time runs out, is if it's a tie game.
Yeah.
You don't wait if you're losing. You have to go immediately. So the
shot selection wasn't great considering Grayson Allen's like 5 inches shorter than him.
I mean, but we got the ball and I don't know if we had timeouts left, but I know Nurse was right at half court yelling something to him. I don't know if he was saying whatever he was saying. It should have been go right away, or give it to Maxi and let him go right away. We tried to run the pick and roll. We were chasing matchups when you got to go. If you don't have a matchup, then you get a ball to Maxi and let him go. But that was just mismanaging the clock. No other way to look at it. It's either so you got to blame Paul, who had the ball in his hands, and you got to blame Nurse, who's the coach.
Yeah.
You can blame Maxi, who's the point guard, because you run and almost take the ball from him then if he don't go shoot.
Yeah, Maxi didn't look too happy after the game, but I'm sure he's not going to show true frustration. But Maxi's
he should have had the ball though.
Yeah,
I don't. That's where I'm saying, like, I don't know how they see things, but to me, especially in Paul's first game, and maybe not the way Maxi's playing in Paul's, if it wasn't his first game, I'm giving Maxi the ball. Especially down 1, because his speed, he can cause a matchup and get to the rim and maybe pass it and get guys wide open shots. Paul was nothing in him said he was getting to the rim. It all said to me that it was a pull-up jump shot.
I know.
That's what it said. So that's it from the wind up, from the taking of the time. You're not gonna do that, and then get to the rim and try to play in the crowd. There's nothing about that says he was driving.
Yeah.
So,
but hey, Yabusele, great game. 19, 7, and 6.
Yeah.
Gotta like that.
He's gonna steal some minutes. He's gonna steal some minutes. When Joel come back, he's gonna steal some minutes from somebody.
Yep.
I don't know who it's gonna be, but he's gonna steal some minutes. He's gonna be a situational guy because of Phoenix, you can play him a lot with their team, because they go small with KD at the 4. So you can play him a lot of minutes like that. I don't know if you can do that when we play Denver. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how you can play him like that because of the Joker. I don't know how much if you can play those type of minutes against Milwaukee. I don't know. Some teams you can, some teams you can't. So I think you'll kind of see some games it'll be like that, some games it won't.
I guess he's the designated fill-in for the small ball 5 when Drummond's struggling, but that's also why Nurkic had 15 rebounds too, though, right? So
yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's you can play him there because it kind of depends how the game is going because he's shooting three, so you're able to play someone with some size that can shoot a three.
Yeah.
And that seems to be something that we want to go to for some portions of the game. That kind of, they've kind of leaned on him when he comes in the game that go stand behind the line and catch and shoot. So I guess you want to space the court, and that's why he's getting so many open looks. Because it's a point of emphasis. It seems to me it's a point of emphasis of wanting to play at least a portion of the game that way.
Yeah.
Because if Drummond's in the game, he's not going to space the court like that majority of the time. So I just think that
no,
that's just a different look that I Bleav that they're trying to do.
And Yabusele almost shooting 40% from three so far. So keeps doing that, he's definitely going to steal some minutes.
Yeah, he's going to steal some minutes from somewhere. Each game or series of games or certain games, definitely.
Yeah, he's looked pretty good so far this year. I would say, a late addition, but I would say that, as far as probably one of the better pickups for us. I mean, obviously Paul George is in itself in a different league, but like so far, based on the way the season's played out so far, Yabusele and Caleb Martin have probably been top two additions for us.
Yeah, because they've been available.
Yeah.
Oh, just off availability, the top acquisition.
I mean, I think it's also a position of need also. So he doesn't have as many people fighting for spots or fighting for time. So the position that he's in is fewer guys. But he's taking advantage of his opportunity.
Yes. And other than poor shooting, Martin's been great. I mean, he's averaging 10 and 7, but shooting 18% from three and 32% field goal overall. Those are going to go up.
Luckily he don't have the same salary as Tobias because you'll be pulling your hair out.
Shoot, 10 and 7 from you're right. You're not kidding on that one. That's for sure. 10 and 7 off 18%. I'll take that at his salary. That's still a bargain in my mind.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, so we got a final topic here. We got game picks. So Wednesday night. So coming out of Election Day, NBA will be back on tomorrow. Sixers will be going to the LA Clippers, the new Intuit Dome on ESPN. PG's return back to LA.
We're doing a tribute video.
Yeah, I mean, he was there a while. Of course they are. They're going to get videos of guys who were there for at teams for 1 year. Of course they're going to give PG a tribute video. But looking at the lines, we just talked about how Embiid might be playing tomorrow. I think they've already baked that into the betting line because this game, the Sixers are a 1-point favorite at Los Angeles tomorrow night. And I'll give you this. LA's played every team so far really tough. They may not have won all their games, but I think they've had a lead for most of their games going into the final 4 minutes of a game. So who do you guys have in this potential Embiid return and also PG's return back to Los Angeles tomorrow night on ESPN?
Well, I mean, I've been horrible choosing games. I'll say we're going to win. I mean, I thought we competed well against Phoenix. I think we're competing now, especially have us, Vegas have us winning. I'm going to ride with Vegas, and we're going to win this one. Be a little tough. Be interested to see how we play in the wall. But we'll go out there and give PG a victory in his return back to Clipperland.
First, real fast, we did have a timeout on that last possession. We did have one. So we could have called one. Yeah. Makes it even worse. I think we're going to win. I don't even know if that 1 point's baked in for Embiid's coming back. I think it's just our team with George right now. Because they're without Norman Powell now too, aren't they? Isn't he out for a little while?
Who was that?
I think Norman Powell's out for a little while now, isn't he?
Did he get injured?
He got injured recently. I don't know how bad it was. I thought I read he might miss some time.
I mean, I know they were down 40-16 yesterday at the end of the first quarter and still won.
No, he came back. He
played yesterday. He played
I
yesterday.
guess it wasn't that bad then. Yeah, they said he might miss time, but I guess he came back. I think we win against them. I think I think George will play even better. It'll be nice to see him play with a little extra oomph going back home in LA. I think we win a close game. I think we win by like 5, but I think we pull it out.
All right. Well, I'm with you guys. I think they're the 1-point favorite at Los Angeles. I think based on the way we've been playing, I think the betting public's going to take Clippers big time tomorrow, being a dog at home. But
and Zubac, though, we're going to need Drummond to play a lot better in that game.
Yeah.
Well, he's getting more than 15 minutes.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that game is a better matchup for him. That's why I said Phoenix is a different matchup because of the way they kind of spread the court and look small at times.
But we'll need Drummond. If no Embiid, I mean.
Yeah, which I think that line spells him coming back tomorrow night. But yeah, well, that does it for us, guys. We'll see you guys Friday when we preview the Lakers and Sixers games. A whole week of nationally televised games. We got ESPN Wednesday, and then we got ESPN Friday against the Lakers. So fun week for the 76ers squad. Hopefully we can pull out a few dubs on the way as we get past this road trip. But all right, guys. Hope everyone has a good night, and we'll see you guys
Take it easy
on Friday. Take it easy,
Later
guys.
on.